And there we go.
Spinning around one final blocker.
Oh, what a move to get around.
Going from 0 to gone.
Oh, man, that was gorgeous.
Oh, and a juke back to the end. That was beautiful.
And that's our game.
Hello, we're back doing a little interview in between our games. I'm here with Juniper Simonis.
Hi.
From Wheels of Justice. And we're going to talk about what it's like to prep for these big games. So, as a team, what kind of things are you doing throughout the season to prepare for matchups like this?
Yeah, so we have about once a month or so, like a game at this level. Sometimes it's a tournament that we travel for or we host. But often we have kind of like a season kind of arc trajectory going into each of the games, sort of every month or so. And we spend a lot of time, about 3 times a week, with practices and scrimmages, working sort of on individual or group work, teamwork stuff, all the way up through full strategy. Across both our Wheels of Justice team that I'm on and the Axles of Annihilation team that's playing tonight.
Sweet. So, week of the game, what do practices look like? Is it, narrowed down to one specific goal? Are you looking at the other teams?
So usually we're just trying to, tighten everything up, and we've kind of, we've set what we want to do strategy-wise. We've kind of worked on some different strategy things in scrimmages, the sort of weeks before. But then, the week of, we still scrimmage really intensely, but we often do, our 2 teams against each other, which we tend not to do during our scrimmages. And so that helps us really kind of continue to build the week of, day of kind of, cohesion that we need across both our blockers and our jammers and across the multiple packs that we have to be able to compete at a good level that weekend.
Yeah, that makes sense. Having time with your teammates really helps things. Yeah, so day like today, getting ready to play, if you were doing it, what's one thing you do to get ready?
So a solid breakfast for sure. And he's not on camera right now, but I have my service dog Wallace with me, and he goes pretty much everywhere with me. And in order for him to be able to be at a good level while I'm playing, so that I can stay present and focused, we go to the dog park. And so it's a really great opportunity for me to get out and stretch my legs and get some fresh air, and disconnect from people and connect to puppies, which is always a great thing. But then, a couple hours before the game starts, we're usually showing up together and really trying to build that in syncness that we want to have for the game time. And so we'll do both on and off skates warm-ups. We'll have team talks and that kind of stuff. We'll break out into our different pods, and the jammers will talk. And we come into these games with a lot of strategic kind of goals, both individually and as a team. And so we'll do around the circle, say what we want to work on for the game, and our coaches will help us dial into specific strategies.
Love that. Thanks for joining us and telling us how you prep for these big games. Yeah, it's great having you. I'm going to sub you out for Dr. Omnomnomivore, and we're going to talk about how Derby works.
All right. Have a great game.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
All right, folks. You can see the Axles of Annihilation warming up right now. 1 second, I'm going to be joined by my co-announcer for the evening, and we're going to tell you a little bit about, how this wonderful game of roller derby works. Your 2 teams for the Knights, both powerhouse teams, but typically, roller derby, same across the board. We're going to be fielding 2 teams of 5 from both teams, 4 blockers, 1 jammer on each side. There's 2 30-minute periods. We'll have a halftime that's about 15 minutes in between.
Each period consists of multiple jams, up to 2 minutes each. And you're going to be wanting to watch the jammers, the skaters with the stars on their helmets. They're the ones who are going to be sort of almost dictating the flow of the game and scoring the points. You'll see there that after the first initial pass, jammers will earn 1 point for each hips of the opposing blockers that they pass.
Absolutely. We got some great derby ahead. Some people wearing some different hats. You'll see the pivots out there with the stripes on their heads. They're the only ones that can take the jammer cap from the jammer if they're in trouble. And then once they put the jammer cap on, they become the jammer for the rest of the jam. So you might see 2 people out there with the stars on for teams at different points in time. But all in all, the action is generally where the jammer's at.
and thinking of that's great. We'll come back in just a little while and bring you more roller derby.
Hey folks, did you know that your
Hello. We're taking a look tonight at the Axles of Annihilation versus Minnesota Roller Derby.
My name is Dr. Omnivore,
I'm Judge Booty.
and we're going to yap for a little bit about these two teams that we're about to see.
Give you some insights. The last time these two teams met was October 4th, 2024. Axles of Annihilation from Rose City did come out ahead with 187 points to Minnesota's 100. Still a relatively close game, not that big of a point score for these two teams.
No, the two teams, looking at them, Axles of Annihilation are ranked 12th in WFTDA right now, where Minnesota is ranked 16th. So again, a very close mashup that we're going to have here tonight. The expected score differential is really only going to be about 11 points, according to our stats people, with RCR coming out slightly ahead. I don't know about you, but an 11-point game between these two high-caliber teams, that's going to be an amazing game.
Yeah, we do not get to see that close of games at this high level anymore. The win percentage, though, does favor Rose City with 69% of the probability of them winning. Minnesota only has 31, but if it's going to be that close of a game, it really could go either way.
If you want to break it down even more for my number nerds out there, for every 25 points Minnesota is going to score, RCR is expected to score 31. So that is our expected score ratio. AOA fielding some skaters that, I don't know, if you watch roller derby very much, I feel like they're household names. So should be super, super fun. Minnesota is... They're going to bring it. I just have this feeling.
They're going to bring it. They're a very dominant force there in the Midwest and the northern states. Up here in the PNW, we got some like different types of competition, different ways of skating. So the mashup between the two teams of seeing, what sort of strategy is going to prevail in this situation, how we're going to change things up, mid-play, mid-jam, mid-game, it's going to be interesting to watch.
So Minnesota Roller Derby, the All-Stars are here, who's playing tonight. They were founded in 2004. They've been a WFTDA member since 2006, so a lot of history with the team. They do operate multiple teams, including this competitive A team, whereas the Axles Annihilation is actually the B team for Rose City. Wheels of Justice, obviously, the A team for RCR. But just because they're a B team does not mean
yeah,
that
it does not mean they're not competitive. They definitely are.
RCR, the Axles Annihilation, are multiple-time B-Team championship winners, including titles in Atlanta in 2016 and Tampa in 2017, and another as the number one North American seed.
Meanwhile, for Minnesota, they've qualified for the WFTDA playoffs every year since 2006. They're ranked consistently in the top tiers of North American and international roller derby, 6th in global standings in 2023, 7th in North American East in 2024. So these two teams are going to bring a very interesting bout to us tonight. Different styles, but definitely top-tier roller derby play.
This weekend's game is really going to serve as a rivalry continuation. And
really?
I, for one, cannot wait for us to get through all of the commercial breaks, all of the roster read-downs, so that we can get into what is going to be a very, very high-level derby game.
I love it. Yeah, these teams don't get to play each other very often. Since they played in October, I'm guessing that was at a tournament, so probably been a long time since they played here at the hangar. And definitely, hopefully we'll play more in the future as well. It's great to have people from out of town visit, play in our wonderful hangar, and enjoy the summer in Portland.
And while we go to that commercial break here in just a few seconds, I am going to look up when that October 4th game was, because I'd really love to see what tournament it was at. Maybe we can gain a little bit more insight from that. But we'll come back and talk about that more after this commercial break.
Hey folks, did you
Hello and welcome back, and we are going to tell you all about Hometown Throwdown, our tournament that is taking place later on this year in August. And we've got a couple of amazing highlight reels that we're going to take a look at here really quick. So you can see we actually had a different floor then, but Rose City will be playing in Hometown Throwdown. This actually featuring the game against Denver. Beautiful work by both teams. Scald Eagle, a national favorite, I would say, hopefully coming down for Hometown Throwdown this next time around.
Yeah, in this clip, getting past Montreal's defense.
Montreal, one of my favorites.
We got Angel City. That's Rachel Rotten jamming for Angel City against Victoria Roller Derby.
Here we go. We've got, this is Montreal, New Skids up against Denver. Other teams, again, who are going to be here in 2025. We'll see the bracket here at the end of these clips.
Truly top-tier roller derby. You're going to see the jammers just do incredible feats of tiptoeing on the line, hard hits by the blockers.
Hometown Throwdown will be televised in its entirety on AWSN, the All Women's Sports Network. We're very excited to be able to announce that. I'm so excited to welcome these teams back here. As you can see, just amazing powerhouse teams doing what they do best.
Yeah, nice. That was a big hit there by Angel City against Victoria. Little high fives on the bench there. And here's the bracket for this year.
So you can see Wheels of Justice, Arizona, Angel City, Axles of Annihilation, Denver, Black Diaspora, Montreal, and Red Stick all coming to the hangar in August to battle it out once again. I cannot wait for how this is going to turn out. Looking at these seeds, it really could be anybody. We've got powerhouses in every single one of these games. I am actually most excited for this Denver Black Diaspora game. That's going to be great. Montreal versus Red Stick will be fun as well.
Yeah, these look like great matchups. We just saw Angel City play against Axles of Annihilation here at the hangar a month or two ago, and very close game, but Angel City came out ahead in that game, so who's to say what what a couple of months of training and preparing will do.
The last Hometown Throwdown that we did have here in Portland was in 2023, and we had a lot of the same teams here, actually. Wheels of Justice, Black Diaspora, Denver Roller Derby, Montreal, Victorian, who will not be here in 2025, but Angel City, arch rival, and Axles once again. Who came out on top on that one, JB?
Oh, it has to be Wheels of Justice and arch rival. Oh, it looks like, well, obviously Wheels of Justice won the game, but looks like we had arch rival in second, and Denver Roller Derby taken third, Victorian Roller Derby in fourth, Montreal in fifth, Axles of Annihilation in sixth, Black Diaspora in seventh, and Angel City in eighth.
I think that we're going to see very different outcomes this next go around, as a lot of these teams in 2023 were really coming off of some COVID cuts and loss of facilities and loss of teammates with the ending of the pandemic there. These teams I've seen recently have only strengthened since then.
Yeah, it's only too bad. I'm excited to see the new teams playing for this year's Hometown Throwdown, but I'll be very sad not to see arch rivals playing in this one. They're the team out of St. Louis and really gave Rose a run for their money at the WIFTDA Global Champs this past fall.
We're going to be back and talk more about that in a little while, but right now we're going to cut to some sideline interviews in just a few moments.
Good evening, everyone.
Trackside with Poisonberry Pie.
And welcome again.
All right.
Ringwood Oaks Amusement Park for game 2.
Okay, how are you feeling heading into this game?
I feel great. We have been practicing so hard for the last 6 months, and we are really ready to take on AOA today.
All right, well, knowing you hadn't taken the win last time, what changed going into this, and how did you prepare?
We've been really working on keeping our defensive shapes tight and having our good offense for our jammers and really trying to get that lead jam status.
All right, and anything for the fans watching, anything for them to look out for heading into this game?
Let's look out for some big hits and really some fierce playing.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time, and good luck tonight.
Thank you.
All right. All right, and I have Rosemary's Baby here with Rose City Rollers Axles of Annihilation. How are you feeling heading in tonight?
I'm feeling good. I feel like our team is very fierce and strong, and I have a lot of faith in them. I have a lot of faith in how much work we put in so far this season, so I'm excited to play some roller derby tonight.
All right, well, knowing y'all took the win last time y'all played, is there anything different strategically that y'all are trying to do heading into this game?
Well, we have some new people for this game, so we are just excited to see how these new people have some opportunities with them.
All right, and I have some insider info that y'all just came back from a summer break. What did this last week look like preparing for this game?
Well, we're ready to play the game, and yeah.
All right, well, we're going to cut to a commercial break. Stay tuned.
All right. Guess what? We're your commercial break.
So, good evening, Derby fans, and welcome to the hangar here in Portland. I'm Dr. Nom Nom Nomnivore.
And I'm Judge Booty. You're watching the Rose City Rollers All-Star Series, and we've got a powerhouse matchup coming your way. Minnesota Roller Derby All-Stars taking on Rose City's Axles of Annihilation.
That's right. Minnesota comes into this bout with a long legacy of top-tier play. They've been in the playoff conversation since the early days of WFTDA, consistently fielding one of the strongest teams in the country, known for their discipline, tight formations, and smart strategy. They're never going to be an easy opponent.
And they're matched up tonight against one of the most dominant B teams in the sport, RCR's Axles of Annihilation. AOA has captured multiple North American B team championships and regularly takes down A teams from across the country.
Exactly. AOA is built on depth, experience, and precision. These skaters train alongside the wheels of justice, and it shows in their control, their footwork, and their game awareness.
And it's worth noting, this is a rare interleague matchup. These two teams don't see each other often, so we're in for some fresh pairings, unpredictable lines, and likely a lot of strategic adjustment in real time.
Two high-caliber teams, no familiarity, plenty of talent on both sides. This is the kind of roller derby we live for.
So get ready, two elite teams, one pack track, and no time to waste.
We'll be with you here every step,
hit,
and apex jump of the way.
Let's meet the skaters hitting the track for tonight's matchup of Minnesota All-Stars versus Axles of Annihilation. First up, I got Minnesota Roller Derby's roster. All right. Number 0, Mad Libs. 110, Anaconda. 112, Whoopsie Daisy. 1128, Poisonberry Pie. 14, Breezeless. 1618, Centripetal Force. 1717, Benicula. 187, Lexecutor. 20, Rollin' Riz. 29, Killer Bee. 333, Levs for Dead. 34, Pretty Reckless. 556, Sweaty Malls. 616, Biz Quick. 651, Chip a Tooth. 69, A Mandalorian. 775 is Prim Reaper. 808 is Marty McFly. 82 is Brutal. 981 is Dougie.
And skating for an Axles of Annihilation, we've got 07 Jackpot, 128 Carl, 139 Katie Postma, 1420 Lala Tiburona, 22 is Habanero Romero, 29 Darko, 31 Kid Vicious, 316 Evan Helical, 33 Skinner, 343 Trinity, 39 is Gaffney, 48 Brute, 777 is team captain Rosemary's Baby, 99 Sally Handsome, and 925 is Des.
And that is the jam start. Here we go. Looks like we have got a great lineup punching through. 99 is Handsome there, trying to get through for Rose City's Axles of Annihilation. Oh.
A beautiful read of the pack there. No cut track being assessed. I thought for sure Handsome was going to get a cut track on that. I don't know what happened that we're calling a timeout, but we are calling a timeout.
We're calling a timeout. Maybe we'll get a redo of that Jam 1, who's to say. But this timeout is brought to you by Welcome to PDX, Deb Counts Tabor.
And for those of you who are new to roller derby, we'll be explaining some of the basics as we go along in these first few jams. We're going to talk about what the pack is, how you score, some of the different penalties that you are able to get. But here we go, basics. It's a 5v5 game with 4 blockers and 1 jammer on each side. The jammer has a star. We have 2 30-minute periods, and each period consists of multiple jams, which can be up to 2 minutes. You'll see here on the graphic that the first jammer to get out from the pack is declared lead jammer. The refs will show an L with their arms. And then after going through on that initial pass, it starts a scoring pass. After that, jammers earn 1 point for each opposing blocker's hips that they pass.
Incredible, and it looks like we're gearing up for the same matchup of what we thought was the first jam, but
just kidding.
Lined up again. In case you didn't know, Axles of Annihilation, aka the Rose City team, is in purple. Minnesota is in light blue.
Sally Handsome jamming for Axles of Annihilation up against Centripetal Force for Minnesota.
That double whistle indicates that Centripetal Force is your lead jammer, but Sally Handsome from Rose City is close behind.
Centripetal Force looking to put points on the board. I believe gets one and calls it off. Sally Handsome not able to pick up any points on that jam, but we are so early.
Yeah, you'll notice that the Minnesota jammer, Centripetal Force, threw her hips around in order to get past just one blocker on the other team. That was the equivalent of getting 1 point. Called off the jam before Sally Handsome could score any points. And, that's the name of the game.
One of the things we always love here at Roller Derby is that everybody seems to be having a really, really great time. And I do want to give a little shout out into the AWSN universe out there. Freight Train, we love you.
We love Freight Train. All right, jamming for Rose City in purple is Jackpot 07, and in light blue for Minnesota is 112. That's Whoopsie Daisy.
Looks like we are going to have a penalty assessed. Looks like it's a forearm. That's what Kira is indicating. All blockers must remain within 20 feet of the pack. So you'll hear us talk about the pack a lot. And here's another timeout. This timeout brought to you by Deb Counts Tabor and welcome to PDX.
Oh, yeah, a very interesting start to this game. So if you've never watched roller derby before, welcome. I hope you're enjoying it. I'm Judge Booty. Once again, you can see us on camera now.
I'm Dr. Omnivore. So excited to be here with you this evening as we watch what is going to be an absolutely amazing game between Axles of Annihilation and Minnesota Roller Derby.
You may have heard during the interviews right before the game that Rose City Rollers are just coming back from their summer break. So they've really only had like a week, maybe 2 weeks of practice before this matchup, whereas the Minnesota team captain was explaining that they've been working hard for the last 6 months preparing for this game.
Oh my goodness, I missed that part.
Yeah. So they're, Rose City is one of the teams to beat. So understandably, Minnesota is ready to give it all, trying to win this game. Both teams so evenly matched. And as we said in our pregame analysis of the statistics, it looks like, it's projected that Rose City is going to win by about 11 points, which is a very, very close game in roller derby.
So I'm wondering, we talked briefly about the last time that these two teams saw each other, and I'm wondering if it was either...
it was the Sacramento tournaments.
It was the Bridges and Boardwalks.
I believe it was, yeah.
Because I was like, Mitten Kitten was also happening, but that was up with Grand Raggedy.
I just remember all the pics of the Airbnbs from Sacramento during that time.
Well, I'm going to look up Bridges and Boardwalks here really quick just to see who was playing.
All right, looks like we're going to start this jam with a pack advantage to Minnesota, meaning they have more blockers on the field than the other team because Rose City has number 925, that's Dez, in the Rebel Heart therapy box.
On a forearm.
On a forearm penalty.
And it was Bridges and Boardwalks.
Love it.
So if you're interested, I'm positive you can go back and rewatch some of that footage and see how the game played out the last time they came up against each other. We do have somebody on Minnesota heading to the penalty box. I believe it's 616, just getting his 34 on an illegal position. So an illegal position means that it's exactly what it sounds like. You weren't where you were supposed to be.
That is lead jam status for Anaconda, second lead jam of the game. Trinity on Rose City has pulled the jammer cap. Ooh, with the spin around at the top, and she's through. Minnesota also through and scores 4 points. Is looking to the box, looking to their bench coach for a call-off.
Axles with 2 sitting in that Rebel Heart therapy penalty box. So Minnesota is going to have a slight pack advantage by 1 blocker on this next jam, on this next start.
Yeah, not an ideal situation for a jam start to be down so many blockers. So much of the strategy that goes into roller derby is how we position ourselves for the jam start. There are a bunch of moving starts, ones where offense can change at the last second. So only having 2, that pretty much guarantees they're going to be stuck in defense right now, unable to help their jammer through.
But look at who it is.
Lala Tiburona is your jammer. Maybe playing some defense there for a second for Rose.
Up against Lefts for Dead on Minnesota. 33, that's Skinner going and taking a seat for a direction.
Yeah, whenever a skater gets hit off the track, they must re-enter behind the skater that hit them, and any opponent who had a superior position. Position is determined if the opponent was ahead of the skater that was hit out if they remained on skates and inbounds. Not the penalty that Skinner got, but important to note because there will be a lot of cut track penalties.
So somehow Lala got lead jammer, but then got sucked back into the pack, and then the Minnesota jammer was able to get out. So Lala went ahead and called the jam off strategically since she was kind of stuck.
She is stuck. The other jammer was going to come around and score points. You don't want that. Jamming is not only about scoring points, but preventing the other team from scoring points by your tough call off.
The blockers, you'll notice, are doing two jobs at once. They are both playing defense and offense.
For our jammers on that Jam on Hawthorne jam line, we got Evangelical for Rose City in purple and Lexecutor for Minnesota Roller Derby in light blue.
Both jammers trying the lines, not able to make much of it. Lexecutor up at the top.
Maybe getting a penalty for that.
Still up
Nope,
there.
a different blue.
That is 9-8-1 going to the penalty box on a multiplayer. If a jammer challenges a linkage between two blockers and the linkage is not dropped, you get a multiplayer.
So you'll notice a lot of the time the blockers are grabbing onto each other and forming kind of a triangle. We call that, we have two butts, so the people with their butts facing the blocker, or facing the jammer, are the butts of the tripod, and the person at the top of the triangle is the brace. Now, the brace and the butts tend to hang on to each other to use the brace to, sit down lower, stop the progression of the jammer. Stabilize, basically. The triangle is the strongest shape or whatever. So, but once the jammer gets through and challenges that link, they have to drop arms because we're not in the business of breaking arms in this sport.
We're not in the business of breaking anything in this sport.
No, we don't want to break anything.
Sally Handsome and Centripetal Force both jamming. Sally Handsome, lead jammer for Axles of Annihilation. Axles with all 5 skaters on the track. Minnesota has 2 in the box, numbers 0-0 on a forearm and 9-8-1 on that multiplayer. When you get a penalty, you do go and sit in that Rebel Heart Therapy penalty box for 30 seconds.
That was great job there by Sally Handsome, taking that hit from the Minnesota defense, but staying in on a toe stop.
Maybe we'll see that on a Radical Wheels replay. Nope.
Beautiful work by Sally Handsome. That's 4 points, bringing us to a 6-4 game. For being in Jam 7, it's a very low score.
That is extremely low. I actually looked at the score before I looked at what jam we were in, and I was like, oh, am I in some sort of time blindness where it's only been 2 jams? Nope, it's been 7.
It's been 7, and we're raring to go for the 8th.
So looking at, I believe the Rebel Heart Therapy penalty box is clear right now. We've got Jackpot up against Whoopsie Daisy for Minnesota.
Jackpot, great job at changing direction to mess with the blockers and also find the open lane.
Jackpot's lateral movement across the track and her springiness, I feel like, are like 2 of her absolutely key advantages on the track as a jammer.
Absolutely. And Whoopsie Daisy has pulled the cap. Oh, it looks like maybe a pass to the pivot happened. Pivot is now the jammer.
So the pivot is a backup jammer or a blocker with special abilities and is designated by the stripe on their helmet. And a star pass can happen between the jammer and the pivot. It can't go the other way. But once the jammer passes the star to the pivot becomes the new jammer record for the jam and has to finish the jam as the jammer. It's a very strategic move. You'll see it deployed probably multiple times this evening while we watch this game together.
Absolutely. And it turned out it really even wasn't a star pass. The jammer made it look like that. The pivot pretended to jam, but the jammer still had the jammer cap in her hand. So she was able to make it through and put the cap back on.
We call that a star stash.
A star stash, and it's strategic because, even I bought it when I was watching the stream. Just being like, well, she's clearly not the jammer anymore.
Sometimes it is so sneaky.
And in my mind, too, I was like, oh, the officials must have just missed it. They aren't doing the head tap thing. But no, they saw it.
It just didn't occur. Or they didn't see it because it didn't occur.
That's Trinity with lead jammer coming around for a scoring pass.
Up against Anaconda on Minnesota. Anaconda with the cap off at this point. Finding Des and Skinner there at the back of the pack. That's number 925 and number 33 in purple.
128 heads to the box for a direction of play penalty.
It's beautiful offensive work there by number 20 on Minnesota as they make their way up to the front of the pack to become part of the pack. And there is a 2-town cider star pass on Minnesota to Poisonberry Pie.
Great hit out there by 925. That's Dez at the top. Oh,
Dez looking for the cut track, not quite able to make it happen. Boysenberry Pie was able to read that very, very well.
Yeah, part of the strategy of running back the jammers is getting back far enough, that they have to re-enter behind you. But if they're fast enough, they can cut back in right behind you as they re-enter, as you keep rolling backwards. So quickness is in the favor of the jammers in this one.
Had that not happened the way that it did, could have resulted in a cut track, which is a penalty that is worthy of sitting for 30 seconds in that Rebel Heart Therapy penalty box. And the cut track basically means that you came back in front of somebody who you shouldn't have come back in front of, that you should have recycled back behind them. So you'll hear us talk about recycling and about cut tracks quite a bit as the night goes on. Cut tracks, very, very common penalties for jammers.
Yep, Lala getting a cut track penalty because
the cut track.
Or
no, the
Gaffney?
oh yeah, no, Lala with the cut track, Gaffney also with a cut track, or maybe just Gaffney with the cut track.
no, definitely Lala as well. Lala was hit out, and then one of the blockers went back farther, and I don't think she saw them when she re-entered.
So what's happening now is called a power jam. So Lefts for Dead is the only jammer on the track, and a power jam is when a jammer receives a penalty, giving a team 30 seconds to focus on scoring without the opposing jammer on the track. So Minnesota right now is able to play pure offense and just get Lefts for Dead through the pack to pick up points for Minnesota.
Wow, that is another penalty for Rose. Number 2-2 is headed to the box for a forearm penalty, leaving only 2 defense on the track.
And that was a Menopause Unicorn power jam. Forgot to say that.
Great job by Lala getting through. Now coming around for another pass.
Lefts for Dead looking to put just a couple more points on the board to bring Minnesota slightly ahead of Axles. Did it happen? It did. We have our first lead change of the game. Minnesota Roller Derby now up 16 points to AOA's 15. Can they hold on to it? I don't know.
We're going to see a lot of lead changes this game with a prediction of 11-point differential.
It's going to go back and forth. But also, we have a lot of roller derby left to play. Meanwhile, we have a timeout being called on the track. That is Deb Counts Tabor, and welcome to PDX Timeout. Deb Counts Tabor, the official realtor of the Rose City Rollers. This is an official timeout. And official timeouts are a great time to also say thank you to 187 Killer Pads, one of our exclusive protective gear sponsors here at RCR. 187 Killer Pads, often imitated, never duplicated. Stick with the best.
Truly, you'll notice we got a lot of people out there. I mean, you have to wear knee pads, elbow pads, wrist guards, and helmets, and a mouth guard to make sure you're not losing any teeth. So necessary gear to keep us safe. We spend a lot of time being hit by other people, falling forward on our knees, on our hands, on our elbows, even backwards sometimes.
I was talking with somebody who's in insurance a little while ago, and I always thought of roller derby as being a contact sport. You know, people contact each other. Turns out it's actually considered an impact sport because we are purposefully trying or a collision sport because we're constantly trying to collide with other folks on the track. Yikes. In a very intentional manner.
That makes it scarier in some ways, I think. Great work by Evangelical from Rose, seeing that open lane on the outside and taking it to get lead jam status. Minnesota Jammer, Lexecutor has already pulled the cap and is looking probably for the pivots, but also trying to get past that incredible defense from Rose City.
Yeah, Rose City doing a wonderful job of keeping the jammer from the pivot. I think Lexecutor, I've actually lost track of where Lexecutor is in the pack. That's fun. Oh, 187. Right there. So cap is off. It has been passed. It's Two-Town Cider Star Pass.
To the pivot, 775.
Prim Reaper.
Prim Reaper.
Evangelical at the back of the pack looking to put points on the board. Just has to sneak by a couple extra Minnesota skaters. We have a penalty being picked up somewhere in there. Prim Reaper with that multiplayer block. Going to leave Evangelical as lead jammer in a power jam. So explain that penalty to me. How did a jammer get a multiplayer?
It seems like a lot of the times jammers will get the multiplayer when they're trying to do like a jersey whip off of one of their teammates. So that typically involves like grabbing your friend's jersey in order to get some stay in bounds, gain some sort of momentum to go forward. But the officials and the rule book treat grabbing the jersey the same as grabbing your teammate by a body part. So if that linkage is challenged by the other team's blocker or jammer, that is a multiplayer penalty. You are not allowed to maintain a link in order to block the other team. All of that is generally in the spirit of making sure nobody hurts themselves by having somebody hit full force against somebody's arms. But yeah, the jersey whips tend to be how the jammer gets those types of penalties too.
So Rose went ahead and called that jam off after sending Prim Reaper to the penalty box, which gave them advantage in this jam because Sally Handsome at the helm of the Axles of Annihilation actually started in a power jam and was able to capture lead jammer before Prim was even back on the track.
Yes, we just saw another example of an attempted run back by the blocker from Minnesota, but Sally Hansen tiptoeing back in as quickly as possible to make sure she got behind the hips of the Minnesota blocker. But maybe she didn't. Oh, no, she got a high block penalty, as did 981 from Minnesota, who's also in the box right now.
In roller derby, you have legal hitting zones, and if you hit outside those, you are likely to get some sort of a penalty. So a high block means that you hit somebody above the shoulders.
Yes.
Which is illegal. You can't hit people above the shoulders.
Yeah, we tend to try to avoid, the middle of the back, the head, the face. Below the knees is another no-go zone. And you may see folks pick up forearm penalties, which means that they hit somebody or push somebody with their forearms, which is, below the elbow to the wrist.
Forearm penalties are designated by an F, while high blocks are designated by an A. And you'll hear us talk about each one as they pop up during the game. There's a two-town sider star pass attempt on Minnesota. From Prim Reaper to 00, the pivot. 00 being
Mad Libs.
Mad Libs.
All right, and because Sally Hansen was lead jammer and went to the penalty box, she has lost lead jammer status, and Minnesota cannot pick up lead jammer status since it was already assigned, which means that this jam will run the full 2 minutes, and they only have 10 seconds left, so that's not too terrible, but part of being lead jammer and having that assigned to your team is you can call it off as strategically as you want. So you can end the jam when you're ahead.
And it doesn't look like Minnesota Prim Reaper was ever actually able to pass that cap. There are rules around a star pass. You have to be upright. Everybody has to be upright and inbounds during that star pass. And I just don't think that series of conditions were perfect for Prim. So Prim held on to the cap. Allowing Axel's Annihilation to pick up a few more points there. So now we've got a score of 27-20, another lead change.
And on that jam on Hawthorne jam line, we got Jackpot. Quick move to the outside, through for lead jammer against Centripetal Force. Centripetal's working it.
Yeah, Jackpot just such a slick jammer. Centripetal Force up at the top of the pack, pushing against Brute and Skinner, I believe.
Jackpot up against 4 defense in the back, but here comes the coordinated offense from Rose in purple.
Oh, Brute, number 48, doing a great job of clearing that tripod, just breaking apart those butts and braces again to avoid that multiplayer. All those blockers had to drop their linkage, their connections.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was a back block penalty, I believe, for number 128 from Rose City. Carl. Most of the time you do I would assume most people do back blocks on accidents. It's when you hit in the middle of the back with force and gain position from hitting them that way. Once again, we're trying to have a safe sport. We're trying to avoid the spine, make sure nobody gets very hurt. Nice job by Trinity there. Jammer for Rose City doing a shirt whip through the pack.
Whoopsie daisy from Minnesota, only about 20 feet behind. You will see tick marks. You can see these orange stripe marks on the track. Those are 10 feet apart from each other, so you can always sort of see who's ahead by how much. And the pack always has to stay within, or you have to have skaters stay within, define the pack.
Within 20 feet of the pack. Sorry, I was very distracted by Darth is the bench coach for Rose City and has just the most insane mohawk.
Yes.
I saw them get out of the car earlier and I was like, oh, cool, a new fan. I didn't see them from the front, and now knowing that it's Darth, it's even funnier.
How did Darth drive their car with their hair that high? I'm hopeful we'll get a picture of Darth here.
They were in the passenger seat, that's all I know.
Oh, okay, so that y'all can appreciate this haircut, or this hairstyle. It is a wild, I would say 1980s mohawk.
It's so high. It must have taken a bottle of gel.
Maybe some ironing as well. Back on the track, we've got Lala Tiburona jamming for Axels up against Anaconda with Minnesota.
Carl trying to play some offense in the back for Lala. Ooh, but getting
an illegal contact.
Ooh.
Illegal contact is sort of like a catch-all penalty that you hit somebody where you weren't supposed to hit them or when you were supposed to hit them.
Lala being drawn back to the back of the pack again. Anaconda coming through, also being hit out, but whoa. Another penalty being assessed.
That's a direction being called on number 69 of Minnesota. Thing about directions, you can only hit in derby direction. You will see some skaters turn around and chest block in what we call non-derby direction, but you can't move in non-derby direction. You can't move an opposing player in non-derby direction. You always have to move in derby direction. So typically when you're chest blocking, you're just slowing things down, waiting for your other blockers to come up and help you be one of those butts or braces.
Yeah, your feet have to be moving in derby direction while you're chest catching. You cannot be stopped there hitting the person in the opposite direction. It's not like football in that way. We do not collide often going opposite directions of each other.
Just like that right there. Nobody moved in non-derby direction. And you actually have to keep moving at all times too, especially when you're locked down in the pack, or you can get what's called a stop block. An uncommonly called penalty.
That was an amazing apex jump by Evangelical. That was brought to you by Upswept Creative, ethical and inclusive websites and online marketing for radical leaders.
Lefts for Dad is lead jammer from Minnesota, putting 4 on the board and calling it off. Minnesota seems to be taking a points and call it approach right now because you really don't want AOA to be able to run it.
Absolutely not. If you're ahead by even a little bit, that point differential is what's going to get you there. So a 4-3 jam is 1-0 in their eyes.
Derby is won oftentimes by inches, not miles. So down on that jam on Hawthorne jam line, I think we're back at the top.
Yeah, that's Sally Handsome.
That's Handsome.
Once we can see the number against Lexecutor. Wonderful.
And Brute, number 48 on Axles, and 925 Des doing a great job off the line of really trying to disrupt that pack.
Great work there. Cap is pulled by Lexecutor. Looking for the pivot. Hit out by Brute. That's number 48 for Rose.
And you can see the pivot is all the way at the top of the pack. Not really strategically placed for a good cap pass, but there it is. We have a Two-Town Cider star pass. You can see all of the officials making the tapping the head gesture to Poisonberry Pie.
Oh, that is a forearm penalty for 925. That's Dez from Axles of Annihilation. But she had such a really good spin there on the line. It's so sad she went to the box for that.
Handsome picking up for Minnesota, or sorry, Axel's Handsome picking up 6 to Minnesota's 4, so that's essentially a 2-0 jam. Let's take a look at this Radical Wheels replay.
There goes Handsome on the outside.
Shrugging off that hit from number 29 on Minnesota before calling it off. We have a team timeout being called right now. As always, these team timeout, all timeouts called, are sponsored by Deb Counts Tabor and Welcome to PDX. If you're thinking about coming to Portland and starting to play roller derby with us here at the hangar, let Deb Counts Tabor bring you home.
What a very close game. Only a 10-point differential right now. Honestly, what was predicted? Almost 11 points separate the teams with the Axles of Annihilation ahead. But I'm sure that we're going to see different changes in strategy between both teams to try to adjust what the other team is doing. Like I said before, the jam starts to kind of determine how the jam is going to go. We have moving offense, we have defense plays. We have like jammers who are going to follow specific people. That might change at the last second. People playing offense might be switched up at the half depending on penalty counts and things like that. But relatively low penalty game between both teams.
Let me bring up our handy-dandy penalty tracker here, and I'll give you a more accurate appraisal. And it's 13-8. Axles have 5 more penalties than Minnesota does. 128, I believe, that's Carl, sitting at 3 penalties, which is the most for Axles, to 981 on Minnesota's. Also, that's Dougie, also sitting at 3. And they're kind of, we'll talk more about it at halftime, but right now penalties are kind of all over the place in terms of who's been doing naughty things.
Great work at the top of the pack by the Rose defense to keep the jammer from getting through. See, they ran the jammer all the way back, still has a star on her head. Ooh, almost tiptoed by, but went out of bounds.
Jackpot lead jammer for Axles. That wasn't declared until 30 seconds into this jam. That's a testament to the blocking skills of Minnesota down there on the track.
Gaffney from Rose is up there trying to play some offense for Jackpot. We got 3 defense in the back, 3 at the front for Minnesota.
Pretty reckless, number 34 on Minnesota is in that Rebel Heart Therapy penalty box doing some solo therapy for a forearm call.
Jackpot sneaking by on the outside with some help from some offense.
Oh, 981 swinging, not making a connection. That's Dougie again.
Very hard with such a fast jammer like Jackpot. She's going to get by you if it's one-on-one.
And flexible too, can like bend it. As we see here.
Here she cuts back towards the middle.
And then just like butter.
Absorbs the hit to keep moving forward. Jammer classic there.
I would love somebody who is knowledgeable in physics to do some sort of like physics analysis of our games. You know, that's like momentum kept.
Yeah. Ooh, Trinity doing a good job there. Rose City's Jammer seeing that the pivot was going farther back than she realized and went back in behind them instead of her initial trajectory of an accidental cut track.
Minnesota answering all of those former lead jammers. Whoopsie Daisy getting lead jammer for Minnesota. Trinity also out about half a track behind.
That was great coordinated offense there by the Minnesota team. You saw Rose like very consolidated in the middle, and Minnesota had both sides of that little pot of people covered. So the jammer could have taken the inside or the outside lane, and the blockers would have cleared those people to make more space for the jammer coming through.
Oh, I just love it when blockers do amazing things that blockers do.
Yeah, the ideal scoring pass for a jammer is when they have to touch nobody on the scoring pass.
Looking down here on the track, Axel's up by 10 points, and we've got Lala Tiburona up against Anaconda. Both jammers gaining some speed there. Lala hit to the outside, recycled by Minnesota.
Yeah, a very fast pack turned into a very slow one all of a sudden. Whoa, lots of...
There's a
Oh,
back
that's a
block.
low block call there for Lala.
Oh, but we're going to do the jammer swap.
switch, yeah.
So you can't play roller derby without a jammer. So Lala went to or Anaconda originally went to the penalty box on a back block. Lala then got a low block, but Anaconda only sat until Lala went and sat down, and then Lala's only going to serve the same amount of time that Anaconda served, which I think was about 3 seconds.
3 seconds. It was very close behind each other.
Yeah, so Lala's back on the track, but what that means is nobody can be lead jammer at this point, and the jam will go the full 2 minutes.
Oh, a forearm call sends Lala back to the penalty box. That's so unfortunate. What had like a great little spin move.
So that's going to leave Minnesota in a power jam for the next 30 seconds. Axel's historically is really, really great at neutralizing power jams. In fact, Minnesota chooses to do a two-town sider star pass there rather than to Mad Libs, rather than have Anaconda fight back through that pack. Mad Libs was perfectly positioned at the front of the pack. It was a seamless handoff. Beautiful pass through the pack for Mad Libs there.
Yeah, that was a great little change in direction. It ended up backwards. I actually don't even know how she did that, making it through the pack. She made it look like she didn't have to touch anybody.
I think it was your ideal jammer pass.
My ideal jam pass. Now up my not ideal jammer pass is when they all reconsolidate at the top, and you're stuck there.
And that is Gaffney Habanero Romero, and that pod is being steered by Brace Rosemary's Baby.
Not a fun place to be.
Not a fun place to be at all.
Lala has the cap off. But the jam's over, so it's okay. No pass needed.
Minnesota able to put 4 points on the board there. Did AOA put
actually
8
8
points?
total.
So let's take a look at this.
Oh, yes, this is the one I
Wheels.
wanted to see. Her come back through. Ready? Okay, here she goes. How did she do this? Whoa!
Sideways.
Sideways. That's crazy.
Like through the bars of a jail cell. Just...
I truly, like, there's not often that you see somebody go right through the middle of the pack like that without somebody clearing the middle for you, but it looks like the Minnesota blockers were just sitting on the Rose blockers so that way they couldn't move.
That was gorgeous. Even Helico and Lefts for Dead now jamming in this jam. We're down to a 2-point game. Minnesota picking up lead jammer again for Lefts for Dead.
Helico finding that outside line and scooting back to the inside, so...
I anticipate Lefts for Dead is going to pick up 4 points here and just call it off.
Nice job there, but stuck on 925 from Rose. That's Dez. Helico might have picked... Oh, Adam Slitter says you picked up one, girlie.
You got one. 47-47. That is a tie game with 5 minutes
left. That's wild. Love to see some close games in roller derby. It keeps things exciting, and then the big jams feel even bigger.
So you're going to want to stick with us through halftime. We've got a couple of really cool sideline interviews that are happening, and then we're going to talk about quarter one stats and an intro into quarter two. It's going to be fun. Quarter two.
Half two.
Half two.
All right, we got Sally Handsome against Lexecutor. Wow, very fast moving. Handsome loves that inside line, gets lead jam.
She's so good on it.
She has this little hop that she does right there at the top.
Lexecutor having a really hard time getting through. Cap has been pulled, but the pivot is at the back of the pack, you'll see. So that's a pretty clear indication Lexecutor never really meant to pass it, was just doing a star stash. Handsome gets through, I believe picks up all four and calls it off. I'd like to take a second to say thank you to AAA, one of our other exclusive gear protective gear sponsors here at RCR. More Derby-specific gear than any other brand, 888 has you covered, quite literally.
Literally. We got one in the box for Rose, which means we only have 3 blockers to start. Minnesota will have 4. And looks like we got Jackpot up against 112. That's Whoopsie Daisy.
Looks like Gaffney
Gaffney's
got
in the box.
a late back block there. So Axel
Whoa, a little
starting
pile
with
up there.
only 4 on the track.
That pile up was in the favor of Minnesota there.
Yep, Whoopsie Daisy through, picking up lead for Minnesota. Jackpot.
A little spin, but staying in bounds.
And mostly upright. Pack is now on the move. Oh,
Great hit
beautiful
out.
job. That was 48 Brute.
Okay, model. Sliding in at the end.
Doing a little pose. Oh, so excited that she got 2 points. Whoopsie Daisy is excited.
And that's, you know, bringing them back to 49 to 51. Oh, 50 to 51.
3 points.
Wow.
They picked up a third in there. Holding AOA scoreless in that jam, that is not an easy feat. And we've got 2 minutes and 45 seconds left, so this we'll probably see 2 solid jams, I would guess.
Absolutely. All right, we got Trinity on the line versus Anaconda. Man, Minnesota doing a great job of hitting out the Rose jammers and then cycling them back.
So that jam was less than 30 seconds because Gaffney just got out of the box.
Wow. Trinity through for lead jammer. Looks like a cat pass. Yep, cat pass there from Anaconda to Mad Libs on Minnesota.
That's a 2-town cider star pass.
Trinity coming around from scores.
Mad Libs was very successful the last time they got a star pass to them. And there we go. There's the end of that. Rose picking up 2. Oh, are we just going to go down to a onesie-twosie game?
I think we might. You might have noticed by this point that the jammers call off the jam by hitting their hips in rapid succession with their hands. It takes 4 hits in a row to call off a jam.
And you can only call off the jam if you are lead jammer.
Yes.
That is a special power bestowed only on the lead jammer of either team.
Yeah, if there's nothing else that you know about roller derby, just know getting lead jammer is a good thing. It helps you win the game. People who get lead jam, like percentages higher than the other team, you're typically going to win. Oops.
Oh, we got a cut. Evangelical did not see where that pivot was. Evangelical headed to the box on a cut track. That's going to leave Centripetal Force in a power jam. But again, we've got Skinner and Carl down there.
Along with Brutes?
Yes, that is Carl. When the twins play, I have a hard time telling them apart.
Looks like Kid Vicious for Rose is also down there playing defense.
So this is a Menopause Unicorn Power Jam. This Power Jam is brought to you by Menopause Unicorn, a new nonfiction book available now on Amazon.
Looks like for Minnesota, we got Killer B, number 29, out there playing defense and offense in this situation. 1128, that's Boysenberry Pie, also out there for Minnesota.
Centripetal Force now lead jammer, but got hit to the outside.
Drawn
just
back
enough,
by Kid Vicious.
Yep, to have to get recycled.
Pivot went for a big hit, but missed, unfortunately. Looked good up until that point.
Evangelical out of the box, quickly threw on an initial pass. Centripetal Force going ahead and calling that off before Evangelical can come back around.
We may have time for one more jam, looks like.
But you know what we do have time for? We have time to say thank you to Porque No Taqueria, the sunniest place in Portland, voted the best tacos and Mexican food in PDX.
Yum. I could go for some tacos right now.
I can go for any sort of food right now. Again, we have so many food sponsors, I always get hungry by the end of the game.
I know, thank God we do, though, because this sport will make you hungry. Sally Handsome versus Loves for Dead.
So this is going to be the last jam of this half. We are now off of period time and only on jam time, as you can see by the clock up in the corner.
Something you may have noticed for the strategy of this game is you tend to have 3 people playing defense and 1 person playing offense for your jammer. So there's 1 person from your team up there trying to move the blockers from the other team around to give you a point through. But in situations like this where it gets a little strung out, you might all coordinate together, like in this moment with Minnesota, all coordinating to try and play some offense real fast. Oh, but a penalty.
On who? I don't know.
Not sure, but that was a big hit on Handsome. Calls it off the last last second one.
Handsome confirming the points. And there we go. That was the last jam of our first period, and we are now at intermission. It's been a very exciting game so far. I don't think the teams have ever been more than 10 or 11 points apart from each other, which is pretty consistent with what we thought our stats were going to be at the beginning. We're going to go ahead and cut to a commercial and a couple sideline interviews, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Hey, folks.
Hello, I'm Iggy with WSL Leadership, here talking with Darth Molly about the first half. How's it going for you with the Axles of Annihilation?
Minnesota's putting up a hard fight. They're a good team, but, you know, AOA practice is hard too. So we're playing our game, focusing on what we can do, and trying to have a good time.
I saw some awesome starts happening for you all. Hoping for more of that in the second half, or do you have another strategy that you're going to kind of work in?
Absolutely. Starts are a big part. You know, if you don't get lead, you've kind of lost the jam already. So that's definitely one of the things we practice the most.
Fantastic. Do you have any other strategy going into the second half that is going to be a change from the first half?
I think just trying to slow it down a little bit, play together, play our game, don't let them change how we do things, and, you know, communicate.
Communication is always big on the track for sure. I saw a lot of really great communication among your pack, really getting in position, cycling back, cycling back, cycling back. Do you think that that is going to be challenged by Minnesota in the second half?
It could be. They're very talented. You know, I'm sure they watch footage, they see how we skate, so we'll see.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Well, good luck in the second half. Hello, now we have Hertrude Stein from Minnesota. Tell me about how the first half went for you all.
I think the first half went great. It's been really back and forth. It's a super low-scoring game, which I think is a testament to our defense and AOA's defense. So it's pretty hot in here, so we're just trying to manage that, but really proud of how everybody's playing, yeah.
Yeah, definitely a defensive battle right now. Do you think people are going to be wearing out by the second half? Do you have a lot of faith in the conditioning of your jammer core and your pack core both?
Yeah. I think everybody's going to be okay. We've got a bunch of timeouts in our pocket if we need to use them to take an extra breather, but I think we'll be good.
Fantastic. Do you have any other changes you think you're going to be making strategically for the second half? You're right, it's back and forth and back and forth. It's such a tight game.
Yeah, I don't really see anything that I want to change for the second half. I think we should just keep going and have fun.
Awesome. Have fun. That's a great plan for the second half. Thanks so much for chatting with us. We really appreciate you all being here.
Thanks.
And we'll see you back after commercial. Thanks very much.
Hey folks, did you know that your head is
Welcome back to just about the end of our intermission here at this match between Axles Annihilation and Minnesota Roller Derby. It has been an absolutely fantastic first half of the game. As you can see, only 5 points between the two teams right now, with Axles Annihilation sitting on top. We talked about it before the game started, but the whole stats issue, we only think that Axles have a chance of winning by about 11 or 12 points.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it will be that high, and as the game has gone on, it seems more likely that Minnesota's going to give them a closer game than they expected.
Which means wonderful things for y'all out there watching on AWSN. Looking at penalties, Axles Annihilation actually kind of ran away with penalties towards the beginning of the game, but Minnesota has slowly caught up. Axles Annihilation sitting at 17 penalties to Minnesota's 12. Only a couple people that I would even remotely say are in trouble. And that's really number 1420, Lala Tiburona, on Axles Annihilation, sitting at 4 penalties.
Yeah, she did have that one jam where she got a few back-to-back, which makes it really tough.
Yeah, that would be jam 20, a low block followed immediately by a forearm. Over on Minnesota, number 34.
That would be
Pretty Reckless.
Pretty Reckless.
It just popped up here. That was really nice. Looking at 3 penalties, an illegal position, a forearm, and a direction there right at the very end. In fact, Pretty Reckless might be sitting in the box when we come back to the game in just under a minute. It's been really fun so far. I don't really see anything special, nothing standing out in the penalties. We don't really have a penalty du jour.
Yeah, and also it looks like the only person in penalty trouble will be Lala, so as long as she doesn't get 3 more, which would eject her from the game, everybody else is looking pretty safe in terms of penalties.
I don't really know in terms of possession. With this close of a game, I think that Axles and Minnesota are probably sitting pretty equal in terms of possession of lead jammer, the number of cap passes. They really are such an equally matched team.
Absolutely, and I think even though we saw a lot of penalties in the first half, that might just be an adjustment period as they get used to each other's style of play and, maybe like shake some of the nerves out. So it's very possible we see a lot fewer penalties in the second half and maybe a switch up in the type of gameplay. So like different types of starts, different sorts of like mid-jam offense we might see.
And that's what I always love coming back from halftime, is that typically everybody's got sort of maybe a little bit different strategy. So almost sometimes the second half of the game is more exciting than the first half of the game. And can be dramatically different, just like you were saying, in terms of gameplay and strategy.
Absolutely. For example, something I don't think will change coming into the second half is I think Handsome will continue to take that inside line right there on the apex. She loves to do that, and also it's been working for her in most of her jams so far. She's gotten lead jam status, so we'll see if she keeps with that.
Or
locked down there in the back, though.
I was like, or she's going to prove you wrong and take the outside.
Which is wild, but, a little wrap around there. But
there
still,
it is. There's the inside.
There's on the inside line. Lead jam status goes to Sally Handsome from Axles of Annihilation, skating in purple. 775 from Minnesota. That's Prim Reapers headed to the box for a forearm penalty.
And 34 does. Pretty Reckless does start the box, start the jam in the box, as I sort of expected. So Minnesota really at a pack disadvantage right here with 2 in the box, although Pretty Reckless did just come back. Number 34 did just come back on the track. Handsome, meanwhile, with 4 on the board, looking to put more up as Poisonberry Pie, or Minnesota, hasn't even finished initial. We did just have a 2-town-sider star pass on Minnesota to Poisonberry Pie.
And that's a penalty for Sally Handsome. That's a forearm penalty, sending her to the box. Means there's no longer a lead jam status. The jam will go for the full 2 minutes. They only got like a minute left, but this pivot's going to be in it for the next minute or 56 seconds or so.
Poisonberry Pie, I feel like, is well suited to this. Poisonberry Pie has been a pivot most of the game and has been successful as a pivot earlier in the game.
Yeah, you'll notice some of the strategy right now is they get Sally Handsome standing in the box, meaning that the defense for Minnesota is getting ready. But in order to help out their jammer, they kept one of the rose blockers in the back. We call that getting a goat, in order to make it easier for their jammer to push at the top. So instead of having to contend with 4 defense, they only had to contend with 3.
Sally Handsome out of the box, back into the pack, looking to score points. Got hit to the inside briefly and recycled, but that's really not going to stand in Handsome's way at all.
No, not at all.
Handsome looking to pick up, a full 4 on that pass. That's going to be an 8-point jam so far, probably one of the bigger jams. I actually don't know if we've seen anything bigger than 8 points so far in the game.
Maybe 10. I don't remember if what would be the highest one, but definitely not very large.
No, we haven't hit the 12s, the 16s, the 20s at any point in this game so far. And I don't think that we will unless, I don't know, maybe unless like a double penalty is assessed to one of the jammers, allowing for a 1-minute power jam. I feel like that's maybe the only situation. But the defense on both of these teams, I don't think would let that ride.
No, absolutely not. The defense on both teams have really locked it down during the power jam situations. Great offense there right at the beginning of that start. You saw number 48 and 128 from Rose hit the pack from the outside, which cleared the lane for Jackpot to go through on the outside.
Hopefully we'll get that on the Radical Wheels replay.
All right, but that's there's a forearm penalty that's at 9.25 from Rose to the box.
Oh, poor Des.
All right. Hit out and recycling of Jackpot while Centripetal Force still works at the defense at the top against
Carl, Brute.
Skinner, I believe.
And Skinner, yeah.
Tough group.
Brute, number 48 there on the outside line. An absolutely stellar blocker.
Ooh, nice job slipping through the middle, finding that crack there for Centripetal Force. Jackpot through.
One thing that I would really like to say is that, both teams here really have to be debating if they're going to be doing more offense and more defense in the second half.
That's true. Love this moment that we saw of just the Rose players running away as Jackpot waited to call it off. She did that in order to get Dez, number 925, out of the box.
So here's that Radical Wheels replay. You'll see the offense off the line that allows Jackpot to get out as lead. There it is.
Nice hit towards the middle.
428 and 128, just clearing that outside line. Jackpot reading it perfectly and moving through completely unchallenged.
Definitely a very typical type of start for Rose City is to clear one of the lines for the jammer. Have two people play offense. One of them plays secondary, which means that they'll rejoin the defense after their first hit.
So what I wonder if we will see is, because we've got that defense-offense sort of push and pull, I wonder if we're going to see any, 2-2s.
I think we just did with that last start with squeezing the middle. Ooh, a very close jam here between Trinity, and Whoopsie Daisy.
Trinity calling off from the outside there, saying, nope, I don't want anybody else to get any more points.
Big hit, knocked her down though, but she managed to pick up 2 during that time.
I'd like to take a second to say thank you to Two Town Cider House, not only for sponsoring our Star Passes, but also for making damn fine cider made right here in the Pacific Northwest.
Love it. All right, we got Helical there in purple, 316. Up against Minnesota's 110. That's Anaconda. Typical matchup for these two right now.
Anaconda trying the outside, then the inside. Actually, both jammers trying for the inside right now. Good job by Even Helical to do a little suck back there. Little jammer on jammer defense.
Everybody's pretty mixed together right now, making it really hard for either of the jammers to find any ground.
But also making it very hard for any of the blockers to really link up and become those butts and braces that are so effective for stopping the opposition.
Absolutely.
Helical up at the top, pushing against, I think, all 4 Minnesota
all 4
blockers.
The defense up there, yeah. And you can see Kid Vicious in purple trying to give some help there to Even Helical.
And Kid Vicious also holding back number 981 on Minnesota to keep them from joining that, although 981 now challenging Even Helical up at the top of the pack. Beautiful little hit to the inside there by Dez.
Nice job. A very quick drawback, reconstruction there in the back of the defense to make a little 2-wall.
But it forced Anaconda to pull the hat.
Absolutely. 1 minute into the jam, we
Even
still
Helical
don't have any sort of purchase there for Anaconda.
No, but Even Helical, ooh, with a recycle back.
Looking tired, looking for the call-off.
I do think Even Helical got the full 4.
Yes. At that point, it's not worth it to go all the way back through. If you picked up the 4,
if you've already gotten them,
you're not going to fight all the way through it again.
So, and that's exactly what happened. AOA picked up 4 there, holding Minnesota scoreless. And actually, Axles have now lengthened or
extended
the lead to 20 points, which is absolutely the biggest that we've seen so far in this game.
Yeah, so whatever the changes that they made during halftime were, it's working out in their favor. So maybe they're trying out some new starts. I mean, we definitely saw, here we see another 2-2 start, giving Handsome the outside line, but defense did catch her in that situation.
Oh, beautiful job by Left 4 Dead to read that. Able to sneak around.
And follow the offense that Rose created. Rose created that line.
So many whistles being blown right now.
A forearm penalty to somebody.
Darko headed to the penalty box on a forearm. Left 4 Dead headed to the penalty box on a cut track. That's going to leave Sally Handsome in a power jam.
Handsome did get lead jam status despite Les for Dead getting through on that outside line.
So I would expect that this is the jam that AOA may actually sneak ahead.
Yeah, very smart move there by Handsome, who felt she knew that neither of those people actually had position on her, so she cut in ahead of them.
Super smart.
Yeah, she was paying really close attention to who was ahead of her when she got hit out.
That was a big brain moment.
She only has to re-enter behind the people that were ahead of her during that during the hit out. So the person that hit her out and anybody that was had a superior position on her. Oh, nice job there by Les for Dead. Oh, but a big hit.
That's okay.
4 points for Sally Handsome. She's up. She's working it. Looks like we got Jackpot coming up to the line for the next jam, but a timeout. Team timeout for Rose brought to you by Welcome to PDX, Deb Counts Tabor Realtor. Let Deb find a little home for you. Little chat happening by the Rose players, maybe going over what the strategy is, coming up with some backup plans.
Timeouts are when that happens.
A lot of the time, there's usually a plan A, and then if something weird happens, the other team lines up in a way that doesn't allow for your plan A to work out, you switch to a plan B.
And I would guess on occasion, there's even a plan C.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a lot to keep in my head. A lot of the times when I skate up to the jam line, I go, wait, what was the plan? And
what are we doing?
I kind of remember just based off the positioning of everybody else what I'm supposed to be doing.
So here we go. We are going to draw that timeout to a close. You'll see Fruit Bat down there.
Such an interesting start for these two teams. We got 2 defense on the back, I'm guessing, for Jackpot there in purple. 1 person in the middle of the 2-2 set up by Minnesota, and then Dez 925 up at the very top. All of these people are very spread apart. Let's see how much they come together. Yeah, that makes more sense. You don't want to start off really spread apart.
But Brute did an amazing job of getting right in the middle of that tripod.
And it worked out. That strange start really worked for Rose in that situation.
There's a forearm being called somewhere in there.
I believe that's to 925 Dez.
Jammer there, Whoopsie Daisy, coming dangerously close to impacting Adam Splitter in the middle.
Jackpot pushing in the back, but looks like Whoopsie Daisy's still stuck in the pack, trying to work through with some offense there, trying to help her.
Carl doing a great job up here at the front of the pack to hold Whoopsie Daisy. And that is, I believe, Skinner.
Yeah, that's Carl and Skinner up there at the top. Woo!
Oh, Skinner unfortunately getting a forearm there, having to let Whoopsie Daisy go.
Jackpot almost getting through on the inside. Now calling it off. Maybe picking up a few points on that one. Oh, she got all 4. Yeah, AOA slowly pulling away. Some 4-0 jams will really help them in the long run.
I don't know. I'm still holding out hope that our initial read of the situation here is going to come back and that Minnesota is going to find a way to bring back some of those points.
I hope so too. Let's see how they react to the way that Rose has changed their game in the second half.
There's our whistle.
Nice. Hey, easy lead jam right there for Minnesota. Oh, but followed quickly by Trinity from Rose City.
Yeah, so Lexecutor is lead jammer, but Trinity only about 30 feet behind. Both jammers going to impact the pack here. Oh, beautiful job by Lexecutor to pick up, I think, 2 or 3 points.
2 points there. Nice job.
And for the first time in a while, holding Axel's scoreless on the jam.
Beautiful, and keeping 1 in the box for Axel's.
I'd like to say thank you. Take a second to say thank you to Porcino Taqueria. Porcino Taqueria, the sunniest place in Portland, voted the best tacos and Mexican food in PDX.
All right. First time we've seen Lala in a while. Lala matched up here against Centripetal Force.
Lala quickly to the top.
Nice.
Lead jammer has been declared, I believe. I heard whistles.
Yes, she's lead jammer.
There we go.
All right, Minnesota coming back, looking to play some offense there for Centripetal Force.
Great job by Des and Brute.
Nice catch there.
925 and 48 on purple. Carl, number 128, coming in as well and just holding Centripetal Force there at the top of turn 1. Centripetal Force pulling the cap, looking for the pivot. Pivots all the way up front.
1-2-8 on Rose. Carl was doing a great job of guarding the pivot and ended up having to try and hit Centripetal Force out, but
you can usually tell if there's going to be a star pass depending on where the pivot is actually playing. So in that case, the pivot was playing up at the very front of the pack, so Centripetal Force never really planned to pass the cap. It was just going to get through on a star stash.
I don't know, in those situations when the pivot has placed herself in a great position where she doesn't have to fight through the blockers, that's the time where I'm like, I need her to get 5 feet closer to me, I can pass it, and then they're through, and they don't have to deal with what I'm dealing with at the back.
See, it's funny because I think of it as a static situation, and you as a jammer think of it as a very dynamic situation.
Yes. Well, most of the time I'm passing it to Mia, so I'm like, okay, my girl has got me. She's going to come back and save me from this situation.
Evangelical and Lefts for Dead. Pack moving very quickly off the line.
Oh, yeah, and Helical making great use of that.
Helical does so good when there's a chaotic pack. She's just able to read it and get through.
Yeah, she has a lot of like really quick jukey moments as well. And like she can do a lot of stuff on 1 foot, which is wild to watch.
Watching Katie and number 139 on Rose and 22 Hobbs on Rose just sink down and just do a 2-block, a 2-wall.
Yeah.
It is just something special to behold.
Yeah. It's wild to have only 2 people blocking 1 jammer because a lot of the times the tripods are what we rely on. It's a very strong position to have somebody in the brace position catch. Ooh, nice little replay here by Radical Wheels.
Look at it.
Here goes Helical. There she goes on the outside line. Dip down and around and through.
The cool thing about that 2-wall, if you really pay attention, is that both of those blockers are holding that jammer in place using only the edges of their skates on the front-facing skate. It is a huge amount of balance and power.
Oh, 2 falls there at the beginning. That's okay. A lot of falling in roller derby. You just got to get back up and get into it. Oh, that looked like a hit to the face, but Handsome still rolling with it.
Handsome with the cap off.
Looking for Brute. Passed it there to Brute, number 4-8.
2-town-sider star
hit.
pass.
Little jump and stayed in.
Would we also call that the special star pass, an upswept creative apex jump?
Apex jump, yes. Ooh, it looks like the hat fell. Oh, the pivot cat fell off as Brute was putting on the star path.
And that's okay.
Yeah. All right. Coming into the last quarter of this game, AOA has pulled away with it. Yeah. Big score. In roller derby, not truly a big score differential, but pretty big since the beginning of this game. We were about 5 points apart the entirety of the first half.
Big for the predictions that we had for this game. So 34 points, 35 points is I don't know, pretty big gap.
I still have some faith in Minnesota to bring it back within 10, 15 points to make it work. But yeah, defense on Rose has really, really locked it down.
Yeah, Whoopsie Daisy up there at the front of the pack fighting against those Rose blockers.
Minnesota has really resorted to like 4 defense too, which has made it harder on the Rose jammers, but also has made it very difficult for the Minnesota jammer because they are not getting any relief from just grinding against the tripod against Rose.
Yeah, so Rose number 139 there, Katie, and number 29, Donnie Darko, just doing such a great job of getting low. It's like every time you push on them, they get a little bit lower.
Yes. This could have been a great opportunity for Minnesota to play some offense here, but they
Ooh, big hit on Jackpot. Excuse me, Jackpot there.
Yeah, they got ready very quickly to get Jackpot, and unfortunately left their jammer in a position to not get a lot of help during that time that Jackpot was skating around the track.
Yeah. I thought we were going to take a little time out there, but it doesn't look like we are. We're going to keep moving forward here. Just about 15 minutes, so we're in our final quarter of the game.
40 points separate the 2 teams.
Which, again, normally is not very much. But when we're so equally matched, I think Minnesota is really going to have to try and do their best to get those 4-point jams and call it off. More holding Axles scoreless if they are going to hope to.
Yeah, unfortunately, this will be a fun little jammer chase right here.
There we go.
Yeah, some jammer on
Lexecutor.
jammer action. Lexecutor taking over Trinity's lead.
Trinity's just going to call it off, though.
Trinity's not going to race her to try and pick up some points.
Not going to happen. 0-0 jam.
Yeah, I wonder, though, if Minnesota is going to change up what their defense and offense is doing in this half, because the 4 defense has been locking down the Rose Jammers for longer, But unfortunately, it's been gassing out their jammers because they're just pushing against a tripod from Rose with no end in sight.
I'd like to take a second to say thank you to Triple Eight, our other exclusive protective gear sponsor here at RCR. More Derby-specific gear than any other brand. Triple Eight has you covered.
All right, looks like a nice start there.
Oh, Lala through, lead jammer goes to Axels.
Following a great line of offense by 2-2 from Rose, that's Habanero Romero. And Hobbs immediately joined the defense, so knew her role very well. Nice job there by 777, that's Rosemary's Baby. Was going to play some offense, saw the jammer from the other team coming, and immediately switched to defense to stop them.
Lala through, picking up 4 for Axels. Minnesota, 4 points that Minnesota really can't afford to give up.
Nice star pass there by the jammer.
It's a 2-downsider star pass to Poisonberry Pie on Minnesota.
Lala
Axels,
getting through.
Lala getting, I can hear it up here, Lala getting advice to go ahead and call the jam off.
Call.
Lala heard it.
Lala heard it. Sometimes as a jammer, it's like, okay, guys, I got a few more seconds. I can get one more, you know? But I don't know. The defense, they want it to be over, which I understand as well.
We've got Evangelical jamming for the Axels.
Against Lefts for Dead.
Lefts for Dead has been one of the most successful jammers of this game for Minnesota so far, I would say.
Absolutely. I think that her style is really working against what Rose is used to. Nice job there. Even though she's not lead, she got to the top, had one to beat, drew them out. Ooh,
able to get
with
around
the spin against Kid.
Around Kid Vicious. Evangelical calling it off after picking up a solid 4 points.
Yeah, those 4-0 jams have really inched Rose ahead.
The Royal Heart Therapy penalty box is clear.
Yeah, we've had a much lower penalty count in the second half here.
And that's a timeout, a team timeout being called by Minnesota. As always, it's a welcome to PDX and Deb Counts Tabor. Welcome to PDX and Deb Counts Tabor timeout. I hope that you all saw during halftime, if you were there, if you watched our sideline interviews, Darth's hair.
Oh my God, yeah. Can you see it now? Oh my gosh. Can we zoom in on Darth's hair, please? Because Darth's talking over there, talking to Kira. It looks it's like 2 feet tall. It's crazy. We'll get a close-up of this at some points, but...
I was like, I don't even...
Oh,
there
yeah,
it is.
there it is. Oh, Darth, you did an incredible job.
That is an amazing haircut. I just want to ask Darth, how long did it take? How much product?
It's staying so well despite the heat in here,
It is.
too.
I don't even see it vibrating when they walk.
No, they're doing a great job. All right, almost to the end of this team timeout. Ooh, look at the start. Looks like a four-corner start by Rose here. One person in each corner of the straightaway. And
775 there from Minnesota, just hanging out in the middle.
I would feel so lonely in the middle. Oh, big hit there by the pivot against the pivot from Rose.
Sally Hansman, Anaconda matched up against one another again. Sally did not take the inside that time. I think Sally went right up the middle.
Yeah, handsome cut from the middle to the inside. You know, I don't see her doing a lot of outside work, but, you know, where you're good, keep it there.
I don't know. Outside is further, right? You have to skate further if you go on the outside?
That's true. Maybe I just like to make it harder on myself.
Handsome trying that inside, not able to find it, calling it off. 2 points on the board for Axels.
Great job there. Not an impossible comeback here for Minnesota, but some radical changes would have to happen for that to overcome this point differential.
Yeah, just over 50 points. 54 points between the two teams.
I mean, yeah, there have been times during our home team season where we've seen 24, 30-point jams, you know?
Yeah, and we've absolutely seen comebacks from this before.
Yeah, even more than this. So nice little jersey whip there by Jackpot off of, I think it was 128 Carl. Ooh, good job getting lead for Lexicutor.
And now we've got a jammer race. The pack is probably going to speed up and move a little bit.
Jackpot is very fast, so Lexicutor might not get the benefit of getting lead jammer for much longer.
Yeah.
Oh, nice call off though.
One.
Picked up one.
I think. I haven't.
Yes.
Okay. There we go. Yes, and Lexicutor is so excited about that 1 point.
Yeah, I think it might be their first time getting lead in a while too, so it's, you know, a very impactful 1-0 jam.
You know,
the beginning of their rally, you could say.
I always want both teams to win. I know that somebody has to win, and by default somebody has to lose. I just hope everybody has a good time.
I hope so too, despite it being so warm in here.
It's so much better this evening, though.
Yeah, than home team champs.
I'm actually feeling a little bit of air movement as it stands.
Oh, looks like you're getting a penalty there. Ooh, a forearm penalty for Hobbs.
Number 22.
Oh, we almost got
Rose.
lead there for 1-1-2. Nice job. Whoopsie daisy. Told you it's the beginning of the rally for Minnesota here.
Trinity with the cap off. Unfortunately, the pivot is the one who went to
the box. Yeah, it's very disappointing when you're the jammer and you're like, okay, I need some help now,
I
but your
need my
pivot's
pivot.
gone.
But your pivot's taken a seat in the Rebel Heart Therapy penalty box.
Trinity doing what you could right there to like keep grinding out against the defense, waiting for the offense to come.
Beautiful job there by Trinity to get back on the track really quick, avoiding any sort of a run back.
Ooh, we almost saw an apex jump there, but a good hit out there by Rolls. 777 from Rose. Whoopsie daisy.
Rolls is so good at covering that inside line.
Pushing hard against Darko, but Darko's gotten very low.
Number 75 coming in here. 775 coming in with the offense.
That's okay. Whoopsie daisy didn't follow it, but I guess she didn't need it in that situation. An 8-0 jam so far for Minnesota. This is what they needed to get some energy back.
Finding Darko and Hobbs there.
Trinity still has the cap, so maybe waiting for Hobbs to come back.
Hobbs is back.
But not close enough for the pass. That's okay. Trinity was playing some defense there.
10 points for Minnesota, that jam. Hard fought, hard won. Let's see what the Radical Wheels replay is going to show us here.
Oh, here we go. This is when 775 plays some offense, but 1-1-2 makes it past Darko on the backside anyway.
I would also like to highlight how well Trinity was staying in bounds there, despite having, 3 blockers trying to push him out of bounds?
Yeah, was grinding it out there, trying to stay in and low. Very dynamic start there.
Axel's really starting far more spaced apart.
Yeah, they're doing a thing where I think they're probably watching what Minnesota's doing and then coming together
and then
themselves.
Reacting.
Yeah, that was a great hit up by Minnesota on Lala at the top. She almost, she did get lead jam status.
And then got sucked all the way back.
Yeah, so if centrifugal force, nope, too late for that.
Did you ever, I know that there's quite an age differential between the two of us, but did you ever watch The Neverending Story?
No.
Oh,
so sorry.
Wow, you just broke my heart. Anyways, I was going to make a reference and say that it's like the Swamp of Sadness for
you
the jammers.
could. Maybe somebody watching would understand.
1,000 people watching will understand. When you're a jammer and you make it all the way through, get lead jammer, only have to be recycled. That is a Swamp of Sadness. You are Artax.
Shout out to our fans of all ages.
Of all generations.
All generations.
Well, you should watch The Neverending Story. It is one of 5 or 6 movies of the late 90s, 80s that firmly traumatized us kids.
You're really selling it to me. Well, now that Love Island's over for the season, I think maybe I'll switch to something new.
I don't know what Love Island is. So.
Wow. You've missed out. Everybody's judging noms up here. People turn to look.
That's not true. I do know what Love Island is. I just don't watch it.
That's okay. This is my first season watching it, and it was wild.
I feel like I see enough of it on Instagram that, in little clips and people giving their feedback that I have watched it.
You got the key points. Oh, great time for Levs for Dead, getting lead jam for Minnesota. Honestly, NBJ probably. She's doing a great job this game.
Evangelical able to get around on the outside. Lefts for Dead is probably going to have to call it off here soon. Evangelical is such a quick jammer. Oh, no, Lefts for Dead is not going to call it off, relying on the Minnesota blockers to slow Evangelical down.
Lefts for Dead probably hoping to pick up some more points in this jam to close the lead points differential, but Helical getting through for 4. Lefts for Dead, I believe, stayed in on that, but once again has 3 blockers from Rose to contend with.
So what I really see is Minnesota's, I don't want to call it a disadvantage because that sounds negative, but Minnesota is such a defensive team that in order to come out of this point differential, they'd really have to play more offense, and they just aren't.
Yeah.
So
I do think this half they've done a better job of shutting down the Rose jammers for longer, but that has not led to a difference for their jammers being able to get out against the Rose blockers.
And it looks like we have an official review. Official review is technically a timeout. This timeout brought to you by Deb Counts Tabor, and welcome to PDX. But we will hear in just a moment here what Axel's is challenging, because it is Axel's AOA's official review. And I do want to give credit to the person who's texting me some game insights from home. So AOA is looking for a cut call on the Minnesota Jammer at turn 2.
Interesting. That's the one. That's the one when she stayed in bounds over on the straightaway. That was like, that looks really close. I'm glad. Oh,
it was not seen. It's not retained.
Rose City Review asking for a track cut. Upon review, there was no out of bounds contact. Rose City rules the review.
All right. Well, you heard it there from Kira.
Let Deb find a little home for you.
Yeah, if the officials don't see it, they're not going to change their call just because you said it happened. So no more official reviews for Rose City in the second half.
So for those of you new to roller derby, each team gets an official review each half.
Yes, one per half.
Where they can say, you didn't see something that I think should have been called, or you called something that I didn't think should have been called. And you get to challenge the refs. Some teams will use it as a extra timeout. Some teams will actually challenge it, like in that instance there of AOA asking for the cut track. Official reviews rarely succeed.
Yeah, I've seen very few of them come out in favor of the team that asked for them, but it's still worth it. It gives your players a break, and on the off chance they do change the call, it's to your benefit.
What would you say the percentage is? 10%?
I would say even less than that.
Really?
I think I've only seen a handful.
Okay. I know, I feel like I usually get really excited when an official review is retained.
And to be the bench coach, to be like, oh, I was right. I saw it correctly, and the officials saw it, and I'm coming out ahead.
Is Minnesota now asking for their official review?
I don't know, but I just love all of these shots of Darth's hair.
Well, I think it's another official review. So this time out brought to you by Deb Counts Tabor, the official realtor of the Rose City Rollers. Let Deb Counts Tabor bring you home.
Find a little home for you. Kira Duncan is our head ref tonight.
Minnesota wants a penalty on the Purple Jammer for a jersey whip. So it looks like they're looking for a either a blocking off the opponent.
Yeah.
Or a multiplayer.
Let's see what
I was actually wondering. I thought I saw blocking off the opponent.
Minnesota review asking for a forearm penalty.
Oh, just kidding.
The forearm had no impact. Minnesota lose the review.
So not retained. Now both teams in the span of 3 minutes have both lost their official reviews for this half. But we only have about 5 minutes.
So now's the time to use it.
Yeah.
Now's the time to go for it.
Although both teams do still have a couple penalties in the tank. AOA has 2 penalties, and Minnesota has 1 penalty.
All right. Oh, almost stayed in on that jackpot. Jackpot getting recycled to the back, but all 4 of Axel's Annihilation's defense and offense were up there to block the Minnesota Jammer. Lexecutor. Another shirt whip. Great job there by Jackpot.
The crowd goes wild.
The crowd goes crazy.
So number 34 in the penalty box for a misconduct.
Yikes. We've seen a lot of those calls tonight.
Yeah, misconduct is an interesting penalty that you don't see called very often, although I feel like we have seen it multiple times this evening. It's a misconduct. You did something that was not legal, that is not covered by any other penalties, and it's usually because somebody said some naughty words.
Yeah, sometimes you let a curse word go, and that's against the rules. You're not allowed to curse while you play.
Or you emote at the refs.
Yeah, they don't like it if you're, I don't know, kind of cheeky with them. Ooh. I loved that work by Lexecutor. Fell over, I believe it was Hobbs, and then crawled a little bit past.
Rosemary's Baby has to let Lexecutor go because they were out of play at that point, or about to be out of play.
Jackpot calling it off before Lexecutor can swing past any of the Rose blockers and pick up some points.
Just under 4 minutes left on that period clock. Oh my gosh, I just lost all of my words there. The Rebel Heart Therapy penalty box is clear for this jam.
Definitely a lot less penalties here in the second half, as they've both gotten used to each other. Haven't had as many penalty spirals, so like when somebody on your team gets a penalty and then another person and then another person, because You start to play a little bit more wild when you don't have the support of your teammates out there.
Penalties for this half have actually stayed pretty darn stable, honestly.
Once again, another great job by the offense and the jammer for Rose City. I believe it was a 2-2 start, which allowed Trinity to take the outside line and get through very quickly to get lead jammer status.
That's a back block being called on somebody there, right on 128, Carl. Right at the whistle.
Trinity picked up 3 points on that one. At this point, it's almost impossible to pick up.
Yeah, 40 points with 3 minutes on the clock.
And 58 points.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I don't know
okay.
how I...
That's a lot. I mean, 40 is still a lot, too. It'd be very hard to get 40.
58 is even harder.
Yeah. We got Lala on the Jam on Hawthorne jam line versus Centripetal Force. Nice job. I don't know how she does it. How does she do it? Pushing up against the defense at the top.
And that is Katie up there at the top. Number 139. Oh, lots of whistles. Carl, 128 on Axel's with a back block. Lala headed to the penalty box on a forearm. That's going to put Lala at 5.
That's a power jam here for Centripetal Force.
Not going to say that Minnesota doesn't need it, and that Minnesota is probably going to use it to their full advantage.
Yeah, there we go. Racking up 4 points already. Let's see what else Minnesota can do to mix up the defense and make it easier for Centripetal Force to score some points.
But Minnesota, being primarily a defensive team, has struggled with offense this entire game.
Yeah, one thing about Rose, a very offensive team and does a lot of great work when they're playing defense to counteract the offense that's coming for them.
And very clearly an offensive team, not an offensive team.
Yes. Ooh, that's going to be, oh, nope, Adam Slitter took it back. Adam Slitter said no. Oh, and now that'll be a cut track penalty.
Because they did not
return behind.
So Centripetal Force with that cut track. Lala Tiburona is back on the track. And we're going to go the full 2 minutes. So I anticipate Lala's going to pick up all of the points that Centripetal Force had.
Absolutely. And we'll see Centripetal Force back on the track before the end of this jam. Probably in about 15 more seconds.
Well, actually, you know, with the way that Minnesota's been playing defense, maybe they will actually be able to neutralize this power jam for Lala.
Yeah, here we go. Here's all 4 of them working together again, pushing on each other to get Lala out of bounds. We've seen a lot of recycling.
And there's another penalty for somebody.
In roller derby, we describe recycling as when you hit out the jammer and take them all the way to the back of the pack, you're recycling them back to the beginning.
The swamp of sadness.
Yeah, I don't know what the Gen Z or millennial equivalent would be.
Seeing as how I'm not that generation, I can't help.
I'll come up with something for the next game. Wowee wow. Still like a 50-point game between the two teams with 1 jam left.
Yeah, this will be our last jam. The lineup clock is 30 seconds, which will leave, you know, about 10 seconds left on the period clock. So no need to use that last timeout. It wouldn't help anything at all here. So even Helical just needs to get lead, and then Helical can call it, and the game will be completely safe.
But it would be so much more fun if Minnesota got lead for this last one. Oh, too late, sorry.
There it is. And we're off the period clock. We're on the jam time alone. Helical probably wants to put some points on the board. Or Helical actually, huge hit there by 00.
Dang, she's going to take that hit and get back in after that.
I know, I would have just called it off.
That would have been the end for me. I would have been like, great hit, we're over.
We're done, handshakes.
OVER, over. Oh, but she got her 4 points, there she goes. And a call off. Oh wait, no. Sorry, that was a different
penalty.
Whistle. Darth is saying
Darth
call
is
it
saying
off.
Go ahead and call it. Even Helical goes ahead and calls it off. That was an amazing game this evening. Axles of Annihilation with an unofficial score of 133 to Minnesota's 79. I'm Dr. Om Nom Nomnivore.
I'm Judge Booty.
And we'll see you next time on AWSN.
And there we go.
Spinning around one final blocker